All right, this is the video for the side wall for the modules. On the side wall, the thing to really be paying attention to is the top plate is a 2x4 like we've been doing. The bottom plate though, for plumbing purposes, we are gonna use a 2x6, so that's gonna be a little bit different. So make sure you have a 2x4 cut to 4 foot 5 inches and a 2x6 cut to 4 foot 5 inches. The 2x4 is your top plate, the 2x6 is your bottom plate. The other thing to keep in mind is the way this wall is laid out. This is the left wall. It does make a difference the way things are going to be installed. For the right wall, all you have to do is the mirror image. So what I mean by that is instead of working from left to right on these dimensions, you're just going to work from right to left. So you're going to the 1 foot 3 1/4 mark here, instead of going from the left side of the wall over to the right, you're going to go from the right side of the wall over to the left. Okay. All right. So after you've done your layout here, the layout here is really easy. All you're doing is carrying these studs up, and it's just studs. So you use a straight edge to carry these up, mark them all with X's. Okay. And then once you've cut your boards to 4 foot 5 inches, I got them laid out next to each other. I'm just gonna verify that they're 4 foot 5 inches. You always wanna check your measurements. So this one is 4 foot 5 inches. This one is 4 foot 5 inches, okay? Then you clamp them together. I'm gonna slide this in a little bit. So clamp them together. Make sure that they are flush on the end. They were almost not flush there. Make sure that they are flush. Slide this a little bit. And again, make sure they are flush. That way they don't move as you're doing your layout. I am using the bigger speed square, that way it reaches all the way across. If you were using the smaller speed square, it won't reach all the way across the 2x6. Okay, so to start out, easiest thing I can think of is to start out by marking the outside studs. There's not a whole lot of measurement involved there. All you gotta know is the measurement of a stud is 1.5 inches. So actually we are gonna need a small speed square just to help us get started with our 1.5 inch marks, because the large ones don't start until 2 inches. So that's not gonna be very useful. So we mark our 1.5 inches on the left side here. I put the 1.5 inches, I put the groove up here solidly so it's nice and flush. Put the 1.5 inches on the outside edge. Again, you see how this smaller speed square does not reach all the way across. So I'll have both working here. Once I make that line, I line up this. That way it reaches all the way across. There's my outside stud. And when you are installing your studs, since you are using 2x4s, when you install the studs, you do want the studs to be flush to the back edge here. So we're using, even though we have a 2x6 bottom plate, it's gonna be a 2x4 stud. And so there's gonna be kind of a gap here. So it might even be useful to help prevent any kind of issues is to even mark 3.5 inches here to kind of indicate that that's where the stud's going. That's gonna be an open gap. All right, that's kind of unique to this wall. It's not standard practice in construction, but it's something we're gonna do just to do some plumbing. All right, I'm gonna go to the right side here, mark the right stud. So again, I put the 1.5 inch mark on the outside edge of the top and bottom plate. I carry this up. I'll switch over to the bigger speed square. So you can see that was not straight. I don't think I was holding this very well. Yeah, I wasn't. So make sure all your stuff is as straight and flush as possible. All right. Okay. The other thing you could do to make sure that this is done well, if your clamp placement's wrong, I could redo my clamps. So I'm not happy with the way that's looking right now. And I could, yeah, see that makes a big difference. All right, so holding this here instead of this corner here isn't quite doing it the right thing. So here's my 1.5 inch mark, and really darken that in since I made a couple mistakes here. So that's the line I want to follow when I switch over. All right, so much better there. All right, so those are my outside marks. Now I got to do my my stud placements. So again, reminder, this is for the left wall. If you're assigned a left wall, you're just going to follow this directly. I'm going to go start on the left side of my wall and work towards the right. If you're assigned a right side wall, you're going to do the same thing as I'm doing here, except instead of starting from the left edge of the wall, you're going to start from the right edge of the wall. Okay? Check with your teacher if you're confused. So my first measurement is 1 foot 3 1/4, and then it's 1 foot 4 inches twice. Okay? So from the left edge, I measure over 1 foot 3 1/4 inch. Make sure you mark the quarter, 1 foot 3 1/4. Don't mark one of the eighths or the half. 1 foot 3 1/4. That's the left edge of that stud. And then what I do is I stretch the tape. I put the tape measure, the end of the tape measure, on that mark, and I just stretch the tape measure all the way across the rest of the board, or the top or bottom plate, and I lock the tape measure. And then every 16 inches, every 1 foot 4 1/4 is marked with a red mark. And so they're easily identifiable by any carpenter. So that's the left edge for this stud, and that's the left edge for this stud. Okay, so again, just a reminder, one more time, this is for the left side wall. If I was working on the right side wall, all I would have done here was I would have measured over 1 foot 3 1/4 starting from the right wall, 1 foot 3 1/4, put a tick mark, and then done the exact same things I just did there. Okay? And that would be your right edges of your stud instead of your left edges. All right, so those are, again, my left edges. So I'm gonna take my speed square. I'm gonna draw straight. I'm gonna really make sure that this is flush up against here. If you need to change your clamp placement to make sure that happens, please do so. Here's the left edge of that stud. All right. Here's the left edge of this stud. And then here's the left edge of this stud. Again, left wall, left edges. If you're working on the right wall, it's right edges. All right, now I need to measure over 1.5 inches. You can use the small speed square or a tape measure. So here is my left edge. So I'm gonna slide the speed square over to the left, or sorry, towards the right, I apologize. This is the left edge. I'm gonna measure, slide it over, put the 1.5 inch mark there, put a line. All right, that's if I'm working on the left wall, I'm going from left to right. If you're working on the right wall, just make sure, if you're working on the right wall, you go this and you put the, you're sliding to the left, put that there, put a mark here. Okay, check in with you, check you're confused. And then I'm gonna take that all the way across, put in my stud, put in my stud. All right, same idea here. I need to replace my clamp. I'll do so. All right, again, that's my left edge. Slide to the right, 1.5 inch mark there. Make sure you're not hitting any clamp. All right, and then the last one, slide 1.5 inches. Use the big speed square to go all the way. Okay. If you have any questions, this should be done. Check in with your teacher. If you have any questions, please check in, but you do need a signature before you start installing.